Right, Celtic faithful, strap yourselves in, because this one's heating up fast. We've got fresh wind swirling around Matt O'Reilly, and it's not just some lazy rumor floating about. This one's picking up speed, and the noise is getting louder by the day. Just a year after leaving Parkhead for Brighton in a move that made headlines across the Scottish football scene, O'Reilly's name is right back in the center of transfer talk. And now there's a new contender stepping into the ring: Roma, the Gelorossi themselves, and it's not just idle curiosity either. Let's wind it back a wee bit. When O'Reilly swapped the hoops for the Seagulls in a deal rumored to be worth 30 million quid, there was a mix of pride and heartbreak from the Celtic support. Pride because one of our own was getting recognized at the highest level. Heartbreak because losing a player of that quality is never easy, especially one who had so much left to offer in green and white. He'd lit up the pitch with his technical skill, intelligence, and a footballing brain far beyond his years. He wasn't just a cog in the Celtic machine, he was fast becoming a leader. The kind of midfielder you build a system around. Fast forward to now, and things down south haven't exactly gone to plan. Despite the promise and the price tag, O'Reilly hasn't quite settled the way many thought he would. In fact, he's been pretty open about it himself. In recent interviews, he's spoken candidly about his frustrations at Brighton, specifically how he's being used on the pitch. And let's be honest, it's not the first time we've seen a player leave Celtic, only to find themselves stuck in roles that don't bring the best out of them. O'Reilly's a natural number 8 box-to-box, someone who thrives on linking up, play pressing high and arriving late in the box. But instead of playing in that position, he's found himself drifting out wide, shuffled into roles that simply don't suit him. False 9 wing or whatever the manager fancied on the day. It's no wonder the lad's feeling a bit stifled. He even said it himself. He's not moaning, he's just being honest, and fair play to him. He's made it clear that he's got no issue speaking directly to his gaffer Fabian Herzler about it. It's not about disrespect, it's about clarity. O'Reilly's not the type to throw toys out the pram, but he knows what he's good at, and he's just asking for the chance to prove it in the role that suits him best. His exact words: "I've only played 2 games there," talking about the number 8 position. "Otherwise, I've been used as a winger, false number 9, or something else." It makes it difficult to show off when you play a position you're not completely happy with. That says it all, doesn't it? Now here comes the Italian twist. Reports coming out of Italy, specifically from the Roman press, are claiming that as Roma are now seriously eyeing up O'Reilly. And here's where it gets interesting. The new boss in town is none other than Gianpiero Gasperini. Celtic fans with sharp memories will recognize that name because he's the same gaffer who had his eyes on O'Reilly back when he was managing Atalanta. It looks like he's never really taken his focus off him, and now at the helm of Roma he's ready to make a proper move. From what's being said, Gasperini sees O'Reilly as the perfect number 8 to slot into his midfield. A player with intelligent stamina and that touch of class, someone who can dictate tempo but also reek lines and get into the final third. And let's face it, if a manager's got a plan for you, a clear idea of where you fit, that makes all the difference. It's exactly the sort of situation O'Reilly's been crying out for at Brighton. You've got to imagine that kind of clarity would be tempting. But of course, it's not all straightforward. There are still a few variables. O'Reilly's only been at Brighton for a year, and even though he's not fully settled, they spent big money on him. They're not going to let him go on the cheap. And there's also the fact that other clubs haven't gone away before he made the move to England. O'Reilly had interest from across Europe, clubs like Atletico de Madrid, Atalanta, and others were sniffing about. That interest hasn't dried up. If anything, his stock has stayed high, and now with Roma joining the chase, it's bound to get even more competitive. From a Celtic perspective, it's fascinating to watch all this unfold. It's a reminder of the kind of talent that was nurtured at Lennox Town and refined under the lights of paradise. O'Reilly was never just another young player, he had a special spark. Seeing him now being courted by clubs of this caliber only reinforces the value he had while wearing the hoops. And don't forget, Celtic were clever with the structure of his sale. There are likely clauses involved, Sellen's performance bonuses that could see Parkhead benefit again if a move materializes. So even though he's no longer pulling the strings in our midfield, his journey is still very much intertwined with Celtic's future. And for the player himself, this might be a pivotal summer. Does he dig in at Brighton, push to play in his preferred role, and prove his worth in the Premier League, or does he look for a fresh start somewhere that fits his style better, perhaps Rome under a manager who already rates him highly? It's a massive call, and one that could shape the next 5 years of his career. O'Reilly is still only 24 with his best football ahead of him. The right move now could take him from a solid professional to a real European-level star. One thing's for sure, he's not content to just fade into the background. He's been working hard on all aspects of his game, including the defensive side, which he admitted was an area he needed to improve. His coach pointed it out, and rather than shy away, O'Reilly took it head-on. He's become more aggressive, more intense in duels. And it's not just helping at club level, it's catching the eye at international level too. Denmark are watching closely, and you can bet they'll be interested in where he ends up next. So as the weeks tick by and the transfer window edges open, keep your eyes peeled. This one's not going away quietly. Whether it's the Eternal City or another surprise destination, Matt O'Reilly's name will be in the headlines, and from a Celtic fan's point of view, we'll be watching with pride, hoping he finds the platform to show the world just how good he really is. And if we're being honest, there's a deeper layer to all of this that goes beyond tactics and formations. What we're seeing with Matt O'Reilly is the classic story of a player with huge potential, caught in the middle of the footballing worlds. On one side, there's the relentless pace and physicality of the English Premier League, where managers often chop and change systems to suit opposition rather than get the best out of individuals. On the other, there's the more methodical, tactically sophisticated nature of Italian football, where players like O'Reilly, intelligent, technically gifted, and adaptable, can thrive if they're given the right structure. That's the appeal Roma holds right now, especially under someone like Gasperini, who actually sees O'Reilly not as a squad option but as a central figure. But it's not just about football philosophy. Mentality plays a massive role too. Leaving Celtic was already a big shift for O'Reilly. At Parkhead, he was adored, trusted, and central to the team's identity. Every week he walked out to a crowd that backed him, that believed in what he brought to the table. Down at Brighton, he's had to fight for every start, adapt to roles he doesn't naturally fit into, and prove himself all over again. It's a humbling experience for any player, and for someone like O'Reilly, who's always struck people as thoughtful and measured, you can tell it's been a challenge mentally as much as physically. That's not to say he's struggled entirely. He's had moments, flashes of brilliance that reminded people why Brighton spent the money in the first place. But football at that level is unforgiving. One or two good performances aren't enough when you're being asked to operate out of position half the time. And as much as we talk about adaptability, there comes a point where a player has to draw a line and say, this is who I am and this is where I play best. That's exactly what O'Reilly is doing now. He's not causing drama, he's not creating tension. He's just stating clearly and respectfully that if you want him at his best, you've got to let him play his game, and fair play to him, because that takes a certain level of maturity. There's a lot of pressure in modern football to just keep your head down, say nothing, and accept whatever role you're given. But O'Reilly's approach is more nuanced. He's defending his value without stepping on toes. He's made it clear that if the manager disagrees, that's fair enough. But at least the conversation's been had. That sort of honesty builds respect, not only in the dressing room, but also with fans, coaches, and potential suitors like Roma. Now here's where things get even more intriguing. While Roma may be the latest name linked to O'Reilly, they're far from the only one still circling. Interest from Spain hasn't cooled, and there are even murmurs in Germany. That's a testament to how O'Reilly is still seen across the continent as a player with the right blend of skill, composure, and tactical nous to slot into multiple systems. And that's rare. Usually you get flair players who struggle without freedom, or workhorses who lack creativity. O'Reilly, when used correctly, has both in his locker. Let's not forget he's also shown a real willingness to improve. Those comments about his defensive duties weren't just for show. He's been praised behind the scenes for how he's embraced the physical demands of the English game. It's no small task adjusting from the rhythm of Scottish football to the breakneck intensity of the Premier League, but O'Reilly's tackled it head in. That kind of attitude speaks volumes. It tells potential managers, especially ones like Gasperini, that this is a player who won't shy away from a challenge. He'll meet it, work through it, and come out better on the other side. It also bodes well for his international future. Denmark are watching closely, and while they've got depth in midfield, they're also in the middle of a bit of a generational shift. Players like O'Reilly, with their experience at top levels and growing versatility, are exactly the type you want in the squad going forward. And if he does end up at Roma playing regular football in a position that suits him, his chances of becoming a key figure for Denmark rise dramatically. It's all connected. Club form feeds international opportunity, and right now O'Reilly is right on the cusp of something bigger. From a Celtic point of view, there's that lingering sense of what if. What if he'd stayed just one more season? What if we'd had a crack at the Champions League with him pulling strings in the Middle of the park, but at the same time there's also pride. Pride that we were the ones who helped him develop into the player he is today. Pride that our club continues to be a launch pad for talent that can shine on the biggest stages in Europe. And pride that no matter where he goes next, there's a we part of Celtic in his journey. Financially, it could be another smart moment for the club as well. If Brighton do cash in and the reports of selling clauses are true, Celtic might see a tidy sum come their way. That kind of windfall could be significant as we look to bolster our own squad for the challenges ahead. So while O'Reilly's departure last summer stung at the time, the longer-term benefits might still be unfolding. It's one of those rare situations where a transfer can end up being a win-win for everyone involved. Of course, the big question now is, will Brighton let him go? That all depends on what offers come in and whether O'Reilly himself pushes for the move. We've seen before how transfer windows can twist and turn. What looks certain one day can fall apart the next. But what's clear is that there's genuine momentum here. The links to Roma feel more than just speculation, with Gasperini now steering the ship and looking to shape the team in his image. Bringing in someone like O'Reilly makes perfect sense. And for O'Reilly, the timing couldn't be better. He's matured, he's experienced a different level of football, and he knows exactly what he needs to succeed. He's not just chasing a big name or a fat paycheck. He's looking for the right fit, the right role, the right platform. That's rare in the modern game, and it makes him a more attractive proposition for clubs who want to build something meaningful, not just fill gaps. So here we are on the edge of another potential chapter in the story of Matt O'Reilly. From the roar of Celtic Park to the south coast of England, and now possibly to the grand stage of Italian football, it's been quite the ride. And no matter where he ends up next, you can bet Celtic supporters will be watching, remembering the player who wore the hoops with class, and hoping he finds the footballing home he deserves. Because in the end, that's all we want for our own to see them thrive, to see them respected, and to see the world recognize the quality we knew all along. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are gathering pace around Lennox Town this week as word begins to spread that Celtic winger Daisen Maeda may have suffered an injury during a closed training session. The Japanese forward, known for his relentless pace and tenacity on the flanks, was reportedly seen leaving the pitch early during Monday's behind closed doors training, sparking speculation among supporters and insiders alike. While there's been no official statement from the club, murmurs suggest that Maeda might have picked up a knock, though the nature and severity remain unclear. Some sources close to the squad hinted it could be a minor muscle issue, possibly a strain, while others fear it might be something more serious. With preseason preparations just beginning to pick up pace, the timing is far from ideal for Brendan Rodgers, who will be counting on Maeda as part of his tactical plans for the coming campaign. The Hoops fanbase has been quick to react on social media, with some expressing concern over the squad's depth should Maeda face any spell on the sidelines. His pressing game and versatility have been crucial assets, particularly in high-intensity fixtures where his work rate stands out. Any potential absence could leave a noticeable gap in Celtic's attacking options, especially with other international players yet to return from summer duties. Of course, at this stage, it's all just talk. Nothing confirmed, nothing denied. The club has remained tight-lipped, as is often the case in early preseason incidents. Yet the silence has only added fuel to the speculation, with supporters desperate for clarity ahead of the first Friendlies. Could this just be a precautionary measure? A minor setback blown out of proportion? Or is there more to the story than meets the eye? Time will tell, but for now, the green and white faithful will be hoping it's nothing more than a fleeting scare, and that Maeda is back terrorizing defenses before long. Hello, fan, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.